Hey, good evening, guys. We'll start today's market debrief. First, we'll take a look at the S&P 500 index. What you can see that the past 2 days, right, past two nights, on Monday, Tuesday, the U.S. market has already made a new all-time high. From this was its previous all-time high, and now it has already made a new all-time high. So there is a high chance that this will continue its trend, following its counterpart, the Nasdaq index, which has already made new all-time high and following through. So, but whereas for the Dow Jones is still some way in making its new all-time high. So, as I explained many times in the past videos, the reason for this bullishness in the US, right, is that they have this unlimited QE, meaning to say they can print unlimited amount of money to support the economy, and they are already coming out with a lot of stimulus package for their citizens to help the economy. So from what I can see is that the a lot of places, the US, are still very badly affected by the COVID-19 situation with many cases coming up daily. So most likely this is still going to prolong for some time, for the US. But I mean, it doesn't matter because in terms of economy, the GDP growth and all that is much worse than its pre-COVID days. But because of the unlimited QE, right, this is basically being supporting the whole stock market run. All right, and it doesn't really relate to whether the economy is doing well or not. Okay, so this is how the US, the state of US at the moment. Okay, so whereas for our Asia side, the Hang Seng Index, all I can say is struggling to break above this 200-day moving average. To sustainably say that it's going to turn up trend. Where compared to China, which is its neighbor, it has already started to turn up for China. Okay, so as mentioned, like a few weeks ago, that China index, right? The market is going to go into a consolidation phase. Okay, so if this turns out well and eventually break on the upside to make a new high, very likely Hong Kong might follow suit. Okay, considering that they have revamped their Hang Seng index to include China companies, like Meituan, Xiaomi, Alibaba into their index. So, and this index, this change effectively will be in like the second week of September, second week of next month. So most likely you might see some positive move in the next 1 to 2 weeks. All right, so hopefully this struggle will end and then it break above and stay above this 200-day moving average. So whereas on our local scene, the Singapore generally is quite weak looking at the index compared to Hong Kong, China, US. Singapore the stock market is very weak, and the reason for that I would say is that we are our economy is not really dependent on our domestic. Most of our GDP growth is mainly more on the import and export. So, and because our borders are closed, or most of the country's borders are closed, that the our economy is badly affected by it. So until the time where we are starting to open, which our leaders are doing their best, they are trying to open their borders like to China, to New Zealand, and whatever countries that is like so-called safe from COVID or free from COVID. So unless that happens, most likely the Straits Times Index is going to continue to stay weak. So the good thing is the short-term support of roughly 2005 is still holding well. Well, hopefully it can turn well and then starts to turn up, when there are more positive news come in. Okay, which I think in the next few weeks might have. Okay, so from what I see in the market at the moment. Next, we'll take a look at the gold. Okay, gold is of interest because it had a nice rally for quite some time, you know. At this moment, after it break, this is a new all-time high, right? And then it pull backs. So like I mentioned, it's going to stay consolidating, in this range. I can say all the way to at least like about 1008. From here to 1008, it will stay in this range for like probably a few months. So we just have to see how this one turns out. If you want to like get into gold position, to accumulate some for future, um, estimate that it might continue to turn up, then a good place to accumulate would be like the around here 1880 or 1850 or even like 1008, when the 200-day moving average starts to catch up with it. Okay, so we just have to hold on to go, and then we see how this one turns out. Okay, for our Singapore market, I think for the past 2 weeks, we have been starting to see the penny stock, uh, more of the penny stocks coming up in the so-called top volume. All right, so this is the volume leaders. You can see most of it. In fact, top 10, top 20 are like all filled with penny stocks. Okay, so at this moment, is actually the penny seasons are running. With the penny seasons are running, it usually indicates a few things. So once the penny season ends, it's likely to be the end of the market. The market will drop. This is one. Or the second is the next turn will start, which means the big caps, the blue chips will start to run, take its turn to run. Okay, so once this penny stock season is over, and usually it's very fast, like 1-2 weeks. Once all the penny stocks run, everything that needs to run had run, uh, then the blue chips will take over. Okay, so at this moment, it's like some of the blue chips I mentioned before. This is International Cement. All right, the past last week around here I already mentioned one time, because this is some insider director buying, did a pullback, and then we'll talk about this. I mentioned once it break this high, right, 5 cents, most likely it's going to move up some more. So today it ran up some more to about 6 cents, 6.2 cents. Okay, so this is a more of a penny stock. I think yesterday someone asked me about penny stock, what to look at. I mentioned integrator. Firstly, there are some volume coming in. Okay, and what happens is today there's a news release, a new contract of 13.4 million. So this one you have to go and find out whether this 13.4 million, right, is it material in its report? How much does it going to earn compared to its annual revenue? So this is integrator. So these are a penny stock, real penny, 1 cent only. Some of it has already moved, like Aspen, okay, already moved off. Acromat, it broke off, pull back, and then today run again, on Monday, and today is a inside day resting. So judging by it, very little sellers on the down day, and people are still picking up. Yeah, there might be still some more upside. This is Acromat. Some of the other stocks that's already run, I don't want to mention so much. Like this QT Vascular, this might be bad, okay, because this selling has a lot of volume happening. All right, so a lot of people are already taking profit from here. Considering here, if they bought here at 0.8 cents, now 1.6 is already 100% for them. Okay, so 9天 have been like in the top volume for the past like 3-4 days. So this has been happening, has been running up a lot. Okay, so this is basically a penny season, penny stock. So a lot of the penny stocks are running. Okay, so for those who who likes to punt, on penny stocks, you just have to watch the top volume, which are the ones that are they are going to run up. They tend to stay on top. All right. Now, one thing that I've noticed in the past 2 days market, the REITs are moving. Okay, I think somewhere like 2 or 3 weeks ago, somewhere here, I mentioned that some of the retail mall REITs, commercial REITs have this move. Okay, and then it died down, it rests, and then today it started off again. Okay, so this is I would say it's a positive sign because it is just not one REIT, but it's the whole sector, the commercial REITs, the retail REITs, the hospitality trust. Okay, so before I go into that, I was just looking at the COVID numbers for Singapore. All right, and what we are seeing right here, especially in this community cases, right, is going down. On some days we still have 0 cases. Okay, 1 or 2, like this, and most of it are imported cases. If I remember correctly, from all the newspaper cuttings, all these imported cases are from India. Okay, and we know India is like one of the highest cases, in the world. So um, if the imported case from India is like no doubt lah. But what I'm seeing here is because community cases are low, right? There is a possibility that in probably maybe October, I would say, late September, October, we might move into a phase 3 or maybe some relaxation of rules or something, as we have no community cases for like consecutive 2 weeks, 3 weeks kind of stuff. So if that happens, I think investors are looking to foresee, when is Singapore going to relax its rules on this COVID-19, and therefore we are starting to see REITs, commercial REITs, retail REITs moving. Okay, so this is Suntec REIT. Basically, I drew this trend line, and the past 2 days he has broken off this trend line, which is a positive sign. It's continuing off from this. So what I would like to see, hopefully, if that it can trade sideways, like 1-2 days, and eventually break this high here of like 142. Okay, or you can if it so-called pullback on low volume, very low volume, we've also look into accumulating in this if your investors want to hold them for dividends. If I remember correctly, about 5%. So we have the maple tree. Okay, the logistic and industrial trusts have been strong because throughout COVID times, they are operational, they are making money, and they are fully running. So most of the industrial trust has already moved off, or so-called recovered, like to their pre-COVID days. So whereas the commercial areas, the retail stuff are still lagging behind. So this is Maple Tree Commercial. After this rally, it pulls back, and then recently it starts to move off again. And the good thing is it has volume. All right, so these are all the good signs coming up. It shows that it might start to turn up. So this is a possible support area. So these are one of the support. There's a lot of trading happening, lots of volume. So this move off is a good sign. Traders or investors have already accumulated. Okay, this is Capital Commercial Trust. Similarly, you also have this run up with volume. Okay, so this is a good sign. Also, this is Capital Mall. Similarly, so bear in mind that this Capital Mall and Capital Commercial, they have a deal in process, where Capital Mall is going to acquire Capital Commercial into it. So if you want to like buy Capital Com and then get the Capital Mall Trust shares, the ratio, if I remember, is you have to buy 2,500 shares, so that you can get a round lot number for Capital Mall shares. This is Maple Tree North Asia Trust. Similarly, Similarly, there's a downtrend as yesterday it broke off. Today is an inside day, which is a good sign. So most likely might turn up from here. This is Fraser Center Point Trust. Similarly, trend line past 2 days broke up with volume. So this is a good sign. So similarly, we want to wait for it to pull back. If you are a fan of Fraser Center Point Trust, there are malls like Budok Mall, Causeway Point and stuff. You like going through to all those malls, then you can invest in this. All right. But this one I think is in the 4%, 5% area. So these are some of the malls that are that have some signs. Lendlease REIT similarly. Okay, it's support at 61 cents. So there's a 3 days move. All right. So what I would say, this as a whole sector is might be moving and showing some strength. So there are some of it like the next sector is also like Escort Trust. Okay, similarly today had a small little trust move, so it's a good sign. Probably they're really looking into reopening or expecting the Singapore government to reopen soon, in the next few months. So fire similarly today had a move, but I think there's a sell down, back down again. So may not be that wise or that nice. CDLH Hospitality Trust also mentioned like past I think last video I talked about this move. Okay, so it rested and then there's a move yesterday. Today is a rest. Nobody selling is a good sign. Okay. So overall, these are some of the REITs that are do. So as I mentioned in the past videos, sector strength is important. Okay, and from what I've noticed is that the REITs actually ran first in this run. Okay, they ran first before the bank starts to move. So if we look at the banks like OCBC, okay, so the REITs actually run like the last like starting like May, the last 2 weeks of May, before the bank starts to move in the beginning of June. Okay, so as the REIT starts to move, but the banks are still looking weak. Okay, but there is a support at the moment. Okay, so around this region about 850, I think that's where the support is. It looks similar to Singapore, the Singapore market. So if it was trend around there, and then you start to see like big caps, the REITs are moving, and some of the big cap stocks are moving. Then you might want to take a look at the banks, because if the banks really run, it run very fast in a short time. Okay, so these are some of the stocks that we have to start monitoring the next 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, so this is the banks. I think in terms of chart wise, DBS seems to have more strength, much strong. It seems to have a much stronger chart pattern as compared to OCBC and as compared to UOB. So amongst the three banks in terms of chart pattern, the chart strength, DBS has the strongest one. Okay, so yeah, UOB support region around here, about 11, 19, 18. Okay, so with that, then there is also some of the stocks. I've not mentioned this before. Jumbo had this first run, it moved off and then it rested here. So it rested for like a month. Okay, and today there is a trust move. All right, I'm not too sure, is it because of earnings coming out soon or what? There's this high here of 36 cents. If you were to break above, you can look for a trade to a short-term trade. Okay, first target area most likely is going to be like 39 cents, which is coincide with the high here, 39 cents. Okay, so this is a small move. It's more for short-term trading. Silver Lake axis. Okay, so as I mentioned, earnings came out, all right, and it's non-eventful. Okay, but the good thing is that there are volume coming in. All right, volume coming in the up bar. So you might want to watch out for Silver Lake. I mean, in terms of trading, you can look at it to break out this 31 cents. You know, if it does, it's quite a positive sign. Might continue its next run upwards. We know the past few weeks, the strongest sectors has been the medical sector, or in more precise term, glove making or protective gear sector. So this is medtech, and then it had this two big bars sell down. Well, the positive sign is that the volume not much, but I can do see that there are already a lot of profit taking happening in this rally. All right, all this tail happening, so there's a lot of profit taking happening already. So with this down move, most likely it's going to consolidate again, some similar like this. You're going to consolidate again, and I mean, if you consolidate in a positive manner, then it might have a new run. All right, so at this moment, most likely it's going to me, I would like to see at least 3 weeks to a month of consolidation. And by the way, the consolidation might shorten if the COVID situation worsen, because that will mean more demand for glove, more demand for protective gears. Okay, so similarly, Riverstone has already in a consolidation phase, and similarly for UG Healthcare, it's already in a consolidation stage. So the stronger sector has already so-called in a consolidation phase, is resting. If we look at the second strongest sector, which is the tech manufacturing, also starting to consolidate. All right, and last week I already showed you guys the stocks like UMS, Valuetronics, and all that. It's all consolidating. Okay, which means to say right now the sector that's moving, I've mentioned before, is the penny stocks. Most likely going to run for another 1-2 weeks, and then we might start to see a next sector. So hopefully, it's the sector that I've just identified, the commercial REITs and the retail REITs. So for me, I rather focus on the future to see how it turns out. Okay, this is venture also consolidating sideways for the past 1 week. All right, this type of consolidation is quite strong, but judging from this, it do seems like there's a lot of selling happening. So I would say that the chances of it is high for it to come down and then it turn back up again. All right, so chances is high for it to do this. So I'd like to see how this one turns out. Okay, for those who like to invest in venture. If not, then I'll just do some summary. Mainly, we just need to focus on the stronger sector. So at this moment, especially for those who trade short term, focus on the stronger sector, which right now are the penny stocks. So some of the penny stocks I mentioned, there are some possible chance like integrator. There will be news. News already came out today, so likely there'll be some move tomorrow happening. Okay, and international cement, recently just broke out. These are some of the stocks. Then there are also some, like, I mean, we for penny stocks, you just have to monitor the um, top volume stocks. Okay, so besides that, I think we just have to focus on the new sector, which I think are the commercial REITs and the retail REITs. Oh, do you think CapitaLand will follow its REITs? So let's take a look at CapitaLand. Most likely CapitaLand will follow. All right, because CapitaLand is the mother share, and the revenue from the CapitaLand group of companies, right, also contribute to CapitaLand's revenue. Okay, so from here, CapitaLand is doing this. There's this trend line happening. Okay, downtrend line. So the good thing is at this bottom there's a high volume. There's this sell down, there's high volume. All right, and then price stayed sideways. Okay, so which means to say there is a higher chance that CapitaLand will also follow suit, by breaking out from this trend line. Okay, so if it does, then there is a good sign, and then we like to see it consolidate and turn up eventually. All right, so this might take some time. Okay, and we'll see how this one turns out. So most likely I would think CapitaLand will follow suit with the rest.